Welcome to the We Geek Together podcast episode 5, and I have a very special guest, Everett.
That is my name, yes.
He's my brother, business partner, tavern owner.
Multiple things.
Yes. And today is, well, probably when this episode goes up, it'll be our 1-year anniversary.
That's insane, actually, though.
That we've been a brick and mortar for a year.
Yeah, for a year.
Time flies. So we wanted to talk about all the good, all the bad, and all the ugly. Let's take turns. I'll say one thing that was good.
Sure.
You'll say one thing that was good.
Yeah.
And then I'll say one thing that was bad, so on. Before we get into it, I want to open up a fresh bottle of Archer's Apple.
Actually, yeah. So you got Archer's Apple, I got Valkyrie, and I was going to show you a cool trick with these.
Okay, show it.
Ever since we've opened a tavern, I've been finding fun ways to open bottles, so we're just going to open it on this actual whiskey barrel right here.
Actual whiskey barrel. All right.
Easy peasy. Just put it down, smack it down. Come on.
This really hurts. All right, can you just open my bottle for me?
I got you.
Ow. All right, thank you.
There we go.
This mead is from Night Raven Beverage, which you can only get through us. So if you ever come into the tavern, you want a cold one, non-alcoholic mead, it's delicious.
Absolutely.
There's our sponsor, by the way. We're sponsoring ourselves. But all right, so we've been open for a year. One awesome thing, one good thing, was the world record.
Oh my goodness, that was literally the most insane thing we've ever done. And we haven't topped it since.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be hard to beat a world record. But the fact that we had 1,000 people show up and it worked, it wasn't an absolute train wreck.
And we were honestly expecting it to be.
Yeah, I was really
The
worried.
preparations for it were all coming together last minute, so we really didn't know how it was going to go until it happened.
Yeah, we've never had an event with over 100 people, let alone 1,000.
Let alone 1,000. Let alone, audio with getting professional sound equipment, having teams of people.
Thank you, Spencer, who is now our audio technician for the podcast.
Anytime.
So from hosting 1,000 people, the Dead Wars, that was amazing. So that's one highlight for me. What was a highlight for you?
This is going to be much broader, but just the community that we've seen grow in the last year. All the regulars that we know and love who
we got
come
a lot of
in.
regulars.
All the people that support our different events. Honestly, just the people is just so many cool people. From building the Dungeon Master team.
It's a community. It's just really cool. I now have a lot of friends who I didn't have before.
Yeah.
And so that's super cool. Another highlight for me is just all the cool stuff that we've been able to see. So, for example, we got some D&D figurines from the 80s in. And Brandon Sanderson's company gave us a whole collection of Mistborn dice, which apparently they're over a few $100, and
that was really cool.
Just I'm a nerd at heart. I just love nerdy stuff.
Just having the opportunity to hold a close to 15-pound solid aluminum Kraken dice. I mean, lots of cool stuff for sure.
It's just fun to be a nerd and actually get to see this cool nerd stuff. And hold it, and that's a highlight for me.
No,
as silly as that is.
On top of that, the artisans that we work with and bring in, along with just the really cool stuff. I mean, we get to see handmade knives, handmade swords, handmade cosplays and costumes come in all the time.
Oh yeah.
So as a creative outlet, as a space, that's probably my next top just cool thing that's happened.
Heck yeah. All right, but that doesn't count. You're not going to get off the hook.
Dang
it. You got to do some other highlight. Then we'll start talking about some of the bad.
Yeah. Let's see, another highlight. I mean, obviously, there's tons of awesome stuff happening, but my mind's trying to blank on another one.
Dude, the mead.
The mead.
The mead is such a highlight.
I was thinking actually about Seth because he made this awesome Viking shield, which is completely authentic with rawhide.
Yeah, so the guy who made the mead made the shield. Yeah. But just the fact that we wanted to open up a gaming tavern.
Yeah.
And we wanted it to be medieval. And then we met this guy who actually brews mead.
Do you remember how we met him? Did he just come into the store? How did that happen?
I can't even remember how we met him. I think he just came into the store and he just started talking to us.
Yeah.
But now it's like, not only is it a great seller, but it's delicious. I love the fact that, like, anytime a guest or somebody comes in, I can just be like, oh, hey, have a bottle of mead.
Have a bottle of mead.
I had an actor in the other day.
It's such an interesting take home.
And like, where do you get a bottle of mead? That's super fun. So, all right, let's talk about the bad. I
got the first one.
Okay.
Late nights, endless hours, 70-hour work weeks that never stop. But it's worth it.
I mean, yeah, there's the joke, right? I quit my 9 to 5 to work 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I definitely feel like my life is pretty much all work focused.
Yeah.
If I want to do something fun, I have to almost justify it as work. Like, for example, this podcast, being able to sit down and hang out with our buddy Spencer and talk about stuff, I have to be able to justify it and be like, well, this is technically actually driving the business forward.
We're making content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I can't sit down and play a game of Magic the Gathering unless it's like I'm spending time with the community. That's kind of how I justify it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, completely get that.
The grind mindset.
The grind, yeah.
All right, so that's a bad. And I don't think that's ever going to change.
No.
When you own a business, that's just how it is.
Yeah, just how it is.
A bad for me is fetch inventory. We just did inventory yesterday, and I came from a restaurant where I could do inventory myself in 2 hours just by myself.
So many less SKUs. You carry 20 things.
And we just did inventory yesterday. We had to have 5 people in.
And it took us like 10 hours.
It took 10 to 12 hours, a whole team. And, it's just because we're learning.
Yeah.
We've never done inventory before. We're working on our system, but F inventory, man.
Inventory.
Counting everything.
I completely agree.
Oh, I'm sore. I'm sore from counting.
Bending over, bins of stuff all day long.
I'm so tired of looking at papers.
Absolutely.
So thank you for the break. Mm-hmm. So yeah, inventory sucks.
Yeah.
All right, what's a bad for you?
Another bad. Now this doesn't happen super often, but there have been times where we've put a ton of time and effort into something and it just doesn't get the return that we're looking for. We've had a couple of events where we've had a few people show up, and those nights can be a little tough.
Yeah, when you put a lot of work into a project and you're really excited about it, and then nobody shows up. I did a video of me hosting a free Magic the Gathering event and then a paid draft, and my hope was we'd get everybody who came for the free event to come to the
stay for the
draft. And I had 30 people show up for the free event, and it was the store was full of people.
Yeah.
And then when it came for the draft, not a soul.
Yeah.
0 people showed up for the draft. And so
failed experiment.
So yeah, learning, but also just and we're still figuring things out. Even the masquerade, which I would definitely count as a success because we had over 100 people show up.
Had a great turnout, great music, great drinks.
It was a fantastic event. I had a blast. However, on paper, if you're just going as a clinical business look at it, the amount of time and hard work that went into that event was not worth the few $100s that came out in profit. Because it was a ticket event, so you had to pay. So we made about $3,000 off of tickets. But all of the time and work.
Yeah, paying for the band, paying for the drinks, paying for the space, everything added up.
Yeah, everything added up,
and
so
razor thin.
We made $200 to $300 profit, which is we had to work a month for this masquerade for $200 to $300. When that could have gone into marketing or anything else that would have definitely seen more returns.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely a learning curve. That's a good bad. Breaking stuff. Our bathroom has been broken
Oh,
for
my
who
word.
knows how long. So
The hinge on the door broke off and punched into the wall, so there's just a giant
there's a hole in our
the
bathroom wall. We haven't been able to fix it.
Yeah.
It's just all these tiny things that need to get done.
Displays break that need to be fixed.
If you're watching the video, you're going to be like, wow, they have an amazing set.
Right?
It's because you can't see the other side of the room, which is an absolute wreck.
Yeah.
It's
There's
so
wood
bad.
piled up in a corner.
It feels so
boy.
bad. So I'm glad you get to see the beauty side.
Yeah.
But
That's what we're good at. We're good at just showing the good stuff.
we're good at like
hiding
having
all-
the curtain. It's
Yep.
like, don't look behind the curtain. So, well, sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, just all the work that still needs to be done.
Yeah.
We've had the store for a year, and I feel like we have 2 to 3 more years just before the store's
Before the store's running like a machine.
well, where I really want it to look.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, that's a bad. All right, let's talk about ugly. What?
Ugly.
Yeah. So like, what's this side of a game store that because running a game store is a dream,
Yeah.
right? Like you're a nerd and you get to be in the nerd business and you get to hang out with nerds and you get to play games. What is one thing? Let's just do one thing each that like we did not expect, and it really is just a turnoff of running a game store.
At least for me, and generally as someone who loves learning new skills, there's been a couple of things I've had to adapt and learn that just take the wind out of me altogether. And it's the business. It taxes. It's filing, for new events and all that stuff.
Business.
Drains me.
Yeah, forming a S corp,
Yeah.
getting documents of articles of incorporation, getting a business lawyer, getting an accountant, just all insurance, liability, all this stuff. Like it's important. Like
You can't have a business without it.
Yeah, you legally can't have a business without this stuff. So, but yeah, it's the worst. If I could, ideally, I would want to be CEO of the business, because CEO is such a tough job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I am the CEO, I'm kind of in charge of all this, but like it's such a tough
Having
job.
to have your foot in every door, and literally take care of it all. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like you don't get a focus on, like I talk to some customers just because we've designed our front desk to be right in the front, so I see customers,
Yeah.
and so I still get the interaction and stuff like that. But like if we just set up the desk in this back area, nobody would see me for like most of the day. I'd come out, film the marketing videos, and then I'd be back here, and it would be it's so depressing.
You just sit in the corner on the computer.
It's
the whole
just,
time.
That's my job as
Yeah.
CEO, is making sure things are getting done, but it is not a fun job.
No.
I will say that, which is interesting, but like
It's not fun, but it's fulfilling.
well, it's knowing that what I am doing is making everything possible.
Yeah.
So like the fact that I'm doing all this paperwork and stuff, which sucks, but then I can host a masquerade.
Yeah.
Then I can host the Dead Wars. Then I can have my regulars, and I can talk to them. And once a week, I could sit down and play a game of Magic. That's what makes it all worth it. The fact that we can still be creative and do it all. And yeah, we take care of the business stuff, but we still have a blast.
Yeah.
It's still an absolute blast.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's a really good.
Ugly. Yeah.
I would say my ugly is it's having to, and I got to be very careful here. It's having to work with bigger businesses that don't care about you at all.
Yeah.
That really took me for a spin.
Yeah.
When I really started to see like what you have to do to get the support from some of these big businesses in the gaming space, it was like, holy cow. Like there's one business And I actually really like this business's product line. But there's one business who I have to have a call every week. They call me and they talk to me about their product, and then every month they call me on the phone and it's an hour-long conversation, and I have to go over every single one of their products. And they say, all right, do you have X product in your store? Yes. Okay, good. Do you have Y product? No. That is now on your order. Like, I'm contractually obligated. Yeah. I have to have their products exactly in my store.
Yeah.
And so, but
Dang,
that's
I never thought about that.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
For me, like every week I'm taking this call, and every month I'm spending an hour focusing on this other guy's products. And again, like, I really like the actual products, and I like the company.
Yeah, absolutely, sure.
But the fact that, like, I have so many hoops to jump through.
Yeah.
To appease it, and it makes sense because these companies, they're putting a lot of resources into your game store. Like, an example is, since I am an official Wizards of the Coast gaming store, they send me free.
We get their promos.
Yeah. We get posters, so we can advertise better, and we have a better reason for people to come in.
Incentives for holding events and prizes for players,
which
and all
is
that.
fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the amount of paperwork that I have to do, I have to log players. Yep. I have to go onto their website and I have to schedule events. You have to justify to the company that it's worth them to send their free money to you. But that is a ton of work.
Yeah.
So, like, that's
and
definitely
all they really. I mean, obviously they've done all the work to create the product, but at the end of the day, they're just sending us product, and then you have to jump through all these hoops.
Well, yeah, and
to make it successful for you.
And then yeah, it's like, is all this work even worth it?
Yeah.
Because like I said, I had a Magic the Gathering draft that nobody showed up for, even though I did like a ton of advertising. And so it's like, at the end of the day, all this work with this company and all of this stuff that they're sending me, and still at the end of the day nobody shows up.
Yeah.
That's like, oof. That's a tough.
That can
pill
take
to
the
swallow.
wind out of your sails. Yeah.
But I'm not complaining about the actual companies. I understand why they do that. But I want to highlight, like, that's a really ugly side that somebody who wants to open their game store, I had no clue that you're making these deals. It's not a deal with the devil, but it's definitely a deal that you have to hold up your side
contracts
of
and deals.
So that's an ugly. All right, so that's the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's just talk. I don't know.
What's next? What's for the future?
Yeah, let's talk about the future. What do we want to do in our second year? What do we want to do in 5 years? I'll ask you because boy, do I have ideas. But yeah, tell me what are you?
Well, I mean,
there's
some simple like paths that we could easily go down. We set the world record. Obviously, we're gonna try and break that.
We're gonna break that.
Once you do it once, like,
it's addicting.
It's addicting. Having that crowd and everything, and having that stage, like, I want to get back to doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a dream. So yeah, that's gonna be the first next thing. Next April.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're gonna do the Dead Wars again, but I want to, because that was for Dungeons and Dragons or TTRPGs.
Sure, yeah.
That was something that nobody had really attempted on that scale.
Yeah.
So I would say we kind of were breaking new ground with that.
Absolutely.
I would love to do that for so many other nerd spaces.
Yeah, I remember you talking to me about what we want to do for Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
Like a real-life Battle City, if you've seen the anime and everything.
I want to have 100 people playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Eliminating down to the final 2, and then you have the championship. Like, I want a full-on anime arc with some villains and some good guys and an underdog. And I want to do that for Yu-Gi-Oh! I want to do that for Flesh and Blood, Magic the Gathering. I want to do it for Warhammer. I have this idea of doing like a full-on universe campaign where everybody who's playing Warhammer invades different solar systems.
That's sick.
And then your empire grows in the solar system, and then you'll bump into other people's empires. And
that's a cool idea.
I haven't heard this. You can be allies with them, or you can go to war, and then it's like a 10,000 year campaign, and like every day is 1,000 years and stuff like that. So like
that's cool.
Yeah, we could. But I want to do that for Warhammer.
Yeah.
And I want to do these big events for all of these different nerd spaces.
Yeah. And it's because we've had our foot in all of these different nerd spaces since we were kids. I remember him getting into Warhammer when I was like 8. He was like 12 to 14, and he didn't have anyone to play with. So he just ended up making stop motion videos with his Warhammer figurines.
I played by myself with Warhammer stuff.
Yeah, but and then after that we got into Yu-Gi-Oh, and then after that we got into
Yu-Gi-Oh
Magic.
And Magic and Pokemon. Like I just kind of want to let the childlike wonder,
honestly, like the stuff that we wanted to do as kids, just come to fruition, and actually become these big awesome things.
Because the real world sucks. Like honestly. I want to friggin' be Ash Ketchum and just. My whole life could be Pokemon. Yeah. So let's just do that for a day.
Yeah.
Let's like legit do a Pokemon battle.
Yeah.
Where you go around and you find cards and you can find your Pokemon and you can build your deck and then
you battle with other trainers.
And then you'll battle with other trainers and by the end you've got a cool Pokemon deck and you've
got and this might be sacrilege to some people, but it was the only thing I really couldn't get into. I don't know why. It just I was like, little pocket monsters.
Mom did not want us watching Pokemon.
No, she didn't.
That's probably why.
Yeah.
Just
but I respect it,
Oh, I love Pokemon. Yeah. I worked at Nintendo for a brief stint, and I got so hardcore into Pokemon then. So that was... But yeah, like, I want to... Like, the Dead Wars was cool because it showed us that, like...
We could do this.
Anything's possible.
Yeah, honestly.
The fact that we could get 1,000 people to show up and play a D&D game all together means, like, I could get 100 duelists to show up.
Yeah.
I can get 200 people to show up for a Beyblade tournament. You know? Like,
nothing has really put wind in my sails like that event for showing, like, what's really possible, where we could go.
Yeah.
Like, we opened our store... And that was exciting, and we could hold events and everything. But in my brain, I couldn't really grasp the scope of stuff we can do until we just tried to do something. Yeah. And it turned into that.
Well, and people want to do it, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, if somebody told me I had the chance to be the friggin' king of games, Yu-Gi-Oh, like that there was going to be 100 other people fighting each other and there's like a whole battle stadium and everything, I'd be
go
like
across countries.
I would be like, heck yeah, that sounds super fun. Yeah. So I think that's one of the
that's
next
a big
things.
drive. Yeah.
That's our future. That's what I want our future to be. Yeah. To host these really cool events that nobody really has been able to do. Yeah. Understandably, because it takes so much work.
So much work.
But we're in the spot we could do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's one thing. Another thing I really want to do is find out how to embrace the online community. Right? Yeah. So we're growing our podcast and we're growing our social media and stuff like that. And we really believe it's important to do all this stuff physically because I feel like the world really needs physical communication. Yeah. We've been stuck behind computer screens and phone screens for so long. Yeah. Being able to talk person to person has been sorely needed. Like, there's people who in public have public freakouts, like the whole Karen apocalypse or stuff like that. Word. People
I could watch those videos for hours.
People cannot socialize, or people are struggling to socialize because we don't anymore. Yeah. And so public events are super important. Yeah. That's why I love to have a physical store. But we have nothing with online. No. No. We have a Discord, and I love
our website will get a couple dozen views a day.
Yeah, and we got a Discord with 800 people in, but we're not doing anything with it. Nope. I almost need to hire somebody for just digital outreach.
We may have grown up in the digital age, but honestly, I'm pretty
digitally inept.
Digitally inclined. Yeah. Decline.
we're working on getting better. But yeah, working with digital, that would be cool. Because there's so many people who want to be part of the community, but they're like living in different states and countries.
Or
So like, what if we could do like a 100-person Yu-Gi-Oh duel, but it's all remote?
Yeah.
You know, like
that gives a lot of people an opportunity to participate who wouldn't have had that opportunity.
Yeah. You know, so that's a
goal.
far off. That's a far off dream, but that's fun.
That's a good goal.
What's another future thing you see?
Way down the line, we get the store running great. We know all the ins and outs.
We've hired some more employees.
Yeah, hired more employees. More locations, honestly.
Yeah.
And it's less about our own growth as it is bringing the store to different places.
Yeah, and I haven't really thought about how, because there's a few ways. It could be we do it all.
Yeah.
As in like we find the location and we build the location and we send the employees and we hire the employees.
Yeah.
That's one version. You can franchise it, but I don't know if I really want to franchise it just because I don't like the idea of franchising it.
Yeah.
Or we could work with local game stores that are already established and we could be like, hey, here's our program. We can help you, and with access to the program, you get our support, you get our marketing, you get all this stuff, and we find local game stores that we like, that we feel like are on the same level.
Yeah.
And then we say, let's work together.
I actually hadn't thought about that idea.
And then
that makes a lot
the
of
idea
sense.
of We Geek Together is not that We Geek Together becomes the only game store ever, but instead it builds a good, wholesome, the right community that we know and we like, and it builds that community in other places.
As we've always said from the beginning, rising tides rise all ships.
All ships, yeah.
And so if our presence are making the game stores and the communities around us better, that's just a win for everybody.
Yeah. So there's a few ways to do it. More locations, though, would be awesome. I think Texas, Washington. There's been a lot of comments from both Texas and Washington where they're like, we'd love to have a store here.
Yeah.
So,
Texas, that'd be a dream.
It'd be hot. I don't know if I could. I'd melt.
Yeah.
I'm used to Utah. All right, so so that was our far future. Let's talk about our near future. We are about to wrap up 2023.
Yeah.
So what are we doing in the next month? All right, so store anniversary. This episode might come out around our store anniversary. We just hit 1 year. We're doing like an amazing thing every day because we always do like a daily event.
Yeah.
Like we do paint night every Tuesday. We do D&Date night every Monday. But for the store anniversary week, we're turning everything up to like 11. So it's free D&Date night, or during paint night, you'll get a free custom limited edition mini.
Yeah. Or all day Magic on Wednesday.
Magic, you're gonna get some. We've been saving up a ton of promo cards, so you're just gonna get free cards just for showing up and playing free Magic.
Yep.
So that will be our store anniversary. That's soon. And then right around the corner, we've got Dragonsteel, which we are riding the epic, the 4-hour adventure for Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere universe. This is going to be like the Dead Wars.
Yeah.
For Cosmere. We are currently riding on that, so we'll have that ready.
I've actually been really excited about Dragonsteel this year.
That's got me super nervous because Brandon Sanderson's an amazing author and nerd.
Yeah.
And so
we got to bring our A game. Like if we screw this up.
If we like come up with an adventure and it's just very like mid, it'll be like that'll feel really bad.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely not stressing about that.
This story that you're making is being scrutinized by one of the best fantasy writers in the country.
Currently living.
Living.
Yeah. So no pressure there.
None.
And then we have Thanksgiving and then Black Friday, which our store never does really any discounts or sales. We try to keep our prices pretty affordable as is.
Yep.
But Black Friday and Saturday and Monday, we will have our only sales for pretty much the whole year.
Honestly, we haven't done any sales this year.
So there'll be some really good, good deals on that time.
Some doorbusters, some stuff you guys are going to want to get.
Here's a cool thing for the doorbuster. We're going to do a secret quest. So when you come into the store, there's going to be a quest that you have to do, and if you finish the quest, you'll get access to the doorbuster. Yeah. So it's not really like who waited in line the longest. Yeah. It's who's the most clever. Who's the best adventurer.
Well, it just brings our experience to something that's most people are familiar with, which is shopping.
I didn't want to have a normal Black Friday. I wanted to have a We Geek Together. Like,
exactly.
We're going on an adventure. We're having fun. Mm-hmm. This is a tavern.
It's on brand.
This isn't Best Buy or Walmart, where like I'm fighting grannies for a microwave or something like that.
You have a great story about that.
Nah, I'm not going to talk about fighting a grandma for a GPS. That's a different time.
Yeah.
And then we're in December. And December, we're going to be very busy.
Yeah.
We got a lot of in-store events. We want to do like a Harry Potter Yule Ball in the store. It'll be the first New Year's Eve that I personally will get to celebrate because I've done 9 years of fast food, and for New Year's Day, the first day after New Year's Eve, I always had to be into work at 4 or 5 a.m.
You were still doing that you were still at your fast food job.
So I haven't been able to stay up for midnight for New Year's Eve in 9 years.
Yeah.
So this will be my first New Year's Eve in
we're gonna do something fun.
Time. So we're gonna do something super fun. And then we hit December, and then it's 2024.
Yeah.
Then
we are having a big event in January coming
up. Yeah, we're doing authors in a dungeon.
Yeah.
We're going to have some big authors. I can't...
Christopher Paolini. Probably going to be one of the biggest names.
Aragon's writer. He's going to be here.
I literally just got the Murtagh book that came out 2 days ago.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, he's going to be in here signing books, and he's going to be talking on a panel with other authors about how to be your own author and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
I think a lot of it is centered around Dungeons and Dragons as well.
We're working with the authors to maybe have them play D&D with some people.
Yep.
Like, it's a VIP experience, so you got to spend like $100, but you'll get to be able to sit down and play D&D with some of these authors.
Yeah.
I can't commit to that.
For sure who's going to be participating.
That is not a promise. Christopher Paolini is not guaranteed to be playing D&D with you. We're still in the works, but that's what we're working on.
That's exciting.
February, I want to do the big Yu-Gi-Oh battle.
Yep.
And then April is the Dead Wars. We're it's a sprint.
It's a sprint. I've been saying that all year. It's like, it's a sprint till summer. Okay, now we're sprinting till fall. Now I'm just... The sprint doesn't
We're just
end.
always sprinting. That's you quit your job, you work 24/7. Like we're never not working on the next big thing.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
It keeps us busy. If we're bored and tired, we should be very worried.
Yeah. Yeah.
We should be very worried.
Things are wrong if we're bored and tired.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that was our episode. Everett, thanks
for watching.
Thanks for being my brother.
Of course. I didn't really have much choice in that.
No, you didn't. But thanks for being my brother and business partner and tavern owner.
Been a wild ride.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. We're not on X or X Twitter, whatever it is. We're not on that. But we're pretty much on everything else. We post very regularly. The videos are very silly, pretty cringe. So if you enjoyed any of this and you want more, We Geek Together. You can find that on pretty much every platform.
All platforms.
Yep. Yeah. Thank you.
Cheers.